here. There we go.
And I'm going to start the event. Oops, I let everybody know. Oops. That's my fault. But you know what? Here we go. Everybody's joining in. Oh God, it's a lot more people than I expected than last time.
Well, this is our
Okay,
first episode, so there was no last time. That was a pre-release. That was
that is
episode
very
0.
true.
That doesn't even count.
Well, let's start it off, Chris.
All right.
Take it
Well,
away.
hello and welcome to the first episode, technically, of the display case. This is our episode 1. I am Chris,
I am Science.
and
We're your hosts.
we are. There are a lot more people joining this time. I think we had what 3 to kick off last time.
Yeah, and then it jumped up to like
So
20 or so. But you know what? We're
it
doing this for
did.
the community, so we don't have tons of stuff to show off today, but we do have some topics of discussion.
Yeah, this
Um,
is definitely going to be a discussion episode for sure. So, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you're interested to hear what we're going to be talking about. We've got kind of 3 topics today that we're going to cover. One is going to be following up on what we talked about last time with naming our server mascot. The second item, and it's the big one that everybody's talking about, is the tariff discussion. It's crazy, and we know a lot of people have questions, and we have done our best to gather information about that. So we're going to share that with you guys and have a discussion about that. And then the last part, Science is going to give us an update on his special project that we talked about in the last episode.
well, special projects. There's multiple at this point.
Oh, I only know about the one. If you've been going rogue and doing additional stuff, that's I'm going to
Uh,
learn about it with the rest of the community, I guess.
it's fine. This is why things never get done. But let's start it off.
Fair.
Let's do a
All
quick
right.
recap of what we talked about last time.
Yeah, last time I guess the big reveal last time was that Science is working on a new website that is going to
Yes.
serve a purpose. You want to tell us a little bit about it? Just
Yeah,
a quick
so
recap?
for those of you who weren't here last time, and I do need to update the landing page, I think this is the one. Yes, we have a new website coming. We will eventually be going live, even though it says check back in late March. Life happened, so it will be check back in late April. Um, we will be deeply integrating our website or this website within our community. So, things like rank roles and stuff like that will eventually be tied to this. We won't be doing the whole MFC thing anymore because this gives us full control over everything. So, it's coming soon. I got set back a little bit with real life stuff, but watch for it this month. It's going to happen.
Nice. And yeah, if you want to know some more details about it, we have the first episode that we did, like I said, our trial episode, episode 0. We have that posted on the YouTube channel that we set up for this. I
And
will
you
share a link for that if you have not seen it. But you can go back and watch that one because it has a lot of really good information about the new website, how it's going to function, similarities to MFC, differences compared to MFC. The community that was in that chat asked a lot of really good questions. So if you're curious about how it's going to work and how it's going to function and just the overall feel of it, somebody probably asked that question and we did our best to answer it. So the information's there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you're looking for the link and you want to check it now, I mean, I wouldn't check it now because we're live, but if you want to check it out, it is in server updates. It was posted there.
Perfect. All right. Well, I guess let's just go ahead and go on to our first topic. It's definitely the most fun of the 3 that we're talking about today. And that is our server mascot. We have a thread under Hot Topics. Sorry, I guess technically a forum post. That is called Server Mascot Naming Contest. Right now it is closed, but it will be opened up after this episode is done. And basically, what we're doing is that we've got our server mascot, but she doesn't have a name. And we would like all of you to give us name ideas. So how it's going to work is we're just going to keep that forum open for, I don't know, a week or two. We'll see how it goes. But basically, just you guys can submit name ideas that you think would be cool for our server mascot to be named. Then we're going to compile them all, go through them, filter out the ones that we think are just terrible or trolly or memes or whatever. And then we're going to put together a list of the ones that we think are good. And then we're going to let the community actually vote to determine the name of our community mascot.
And
And big surprise that I just learned about right before this show is that we are actually going to be giving prizes to the people that not only suggested the name that ends up winning the votes, but the number 2 and number 3 most voted names as well. Um, we don't have information on what the prizes are going to be yet, but they're going to be pretty cool. And I guess just caveat: if like 14 people suggest the same name, whoever suggests it first is going to be the one to get that suggestion. So
that is correct.
that means that when the thread opens up and people can start posting, get in there quick and early so you can get your name ideas before somebody else steals it, because they might be taking a cool prize away from you.
And do we want to give a little bit more background on the lovely mascot here that's now behind you?
Yeah, this is actually a character that I had designed and then obviously paid somebody else to draw because I have no artistic talent at all. Um, Years ago for a project that I ended up not moving forward with, and I just kind of sat on this art for a little while, and then we decided, hey, server needs a mascot. Why not use this? I've already paid for it and commissioned an artist to do all this cool work, so let's get some use out of it. So now she belongs to the community.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
for giving her to us. I mean, it seems a
sure.
lot of people really like the design. People love this photo. Many of you have probably seen it on our invite link and so forth. It's very prominent.
It's
It
also our
is the
server banner
server
right
banner.
now
Yeah, yep.
because we may or may
Hey,
not have gotten really busy and we forgot to collect the ideas and then do a vote like we normally do for the server. So um, April is going to be this mascot. That's fine. It's She's the one I had designed. This is my birth month, so I'm going to celebrate it with having my art up there finally, since no one ever votes for the stuff I choose.
well, you did win. And now you can
Yeah,
never say
sort
you
of.
didn't. So,
By a 10, I won a vote of one. There was one suggestion, one person voted. It was me, so that was possibly the worst victory that you could ever have in anything. But you know what? I'll take it because I always lose the server image vote
that's the spirit.
for like 7 years. I don't think I've ever won one.
I
So
think you did win once. So,
I don't remember that at all. And if you can't prove it, then it didn't happen.
well,
That's the rule of the
I
internet, right? Screenshot or it
it
didn't
is
happen.
true. Yep, that is
No.
very true.
You've been around long enough. You know how that works.
Anywho, do we want to move on to the bulk of this discussion here, which I'm sure
Yes.
everybody's going to have tons of questions about?
Yep. Take us in.
Our favorite tariffs. Tariffs.
So I hear that you have a 30-day, 30-step plan to fix all of this. Tell us what it is.
I have no plan. All I
Oh,
can
okay.
say is, all I can really say is that everybody needs to relax. There's so many moving pieces to this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
burned down
it's
the thread because people did need to take a break. We needed a pause. Everybody was freaking out way too much, and I'm sorry for that. But we
I
did really need to like step away. But really, what's
so
happening right
why don't you
now
give
is,
us why don't you give us like a current status? Like where are we
yeah,
right now?
where we are right now is the de minimis is still in effect, right? So your under $800 packages coming into the U.S. are not being hit with massive tariffs. Yes, if it's coming from China, it will be subject to a 20% tariff, but that is all that is there right now. So if you're trying to get things in before the massive tariffs go into effect, now's the time to do it. Ship your
And this
stuff as
is
fast as possible.
sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but it needs to be said. This is accurate as of like 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, April
April
10th.
10th. Yeah.
This shit is changing constantly. So if anyone hears the recording of this even a week or two later, it may all be wrong because it's literally day by day this is changing. So I just I want to timestamp that so that someone doesn't pop in a month and go, these idiots were completely wrong. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. Anyway, please continue.
Absolutely. So, as I was saying, right? So, until May 2nd, you're not going to get charged a crazy amount. You will probably get charged a little bit if it's coming from China, but if you're ordering something from Japan or you got figures coming in or merch coming in, don't sweat it. Don't go canceling all your orders. Let them come in. You'll be perfectly fine. And probably by the time May comes around, because you see what happened with the other countries that actually bowed down to our current president and wanted to negotiate, um, he backed off and he put a pause on those tariffs. So don't overreact. I know there's a lot of information out there and people, it's like the percentages are going crazy every single day. We went from 20% to 50% to 84% to now 104% to 125 and now 145%, or like $50 or $25 now up to $200 per package coming in. Don't stress that, because the more and more you stress about it, the more crazy things are going to happen to you than to anybody else.
And
So
what
just
you need to
let it ride.
realize is that this is a very calculated strategy. I'm not going to give an opinion on whether I agree with it because that's political. That's not what we're about. But Donald Trump has shared his basically 5 steps on how he negotiates deals. Step one, it literally is start with an extreme position to create room for compromise. Well, that certainly sounds like what's going on right now. Step two, use attention grabbing statements to control the narrative and put the other side on the defensive. Well, that's the escalation of these freaking tariffs constantly. Step three, create a sense of urgency to pressure the other side into making concessions. Well, we're certainly seeing that with like, hey, these tariffs are coming, but if you're willing to negotiate with us, then we'll put a pause on it. But you got to negotiate soon. Step four, keep the other side guessing about your intentions and bottom line. That's where some of the crazier talks are coming in about like revoking Chinese student visas, raising tariffs to 400%, whatever. And then the last step is, be willing to walk away if the deal doesn't meet your standards, which is basically what he did with the Ukrainian rare earth minerals deal. But that's not neither here nor there. The crazy part is that these steps I just read are very applicable to exactly what he's doing right now. But these are actually from his book that was published in 1987. So this is his MO. This is what he does. This is how he does it. Whether or not I agree with it, that's a different story. But I just want to make it clear that there is a strategy behind this. I don't know if we're going about it the right way. That's just my opinion. But there is a plan, there is a goal. Unfortunately, you have two sides that are basically playing chicken to see who's going to be impacted by
Exactly.
this first. I can tell you from things that I'm reading from actual anti-CCP Chinese expats, they are getting hit by this really hard as well. From an economic standpoint, China relies more on the money that they make from selling goods to the United States than we do from the money that we get from selling to China. Again, that's not an endorsement of this strategy, but it's just letting you know the current situation we're in. What that does make me feel is that I do have hope that this will be resolved. And I don't think it's going to be a very long term thing, but I do think that in the short term, we're going to get hit by this in a way that impacts us in a lot of different ways. Not just, I mean, sure, a lot of our products that we buy in this hobby come from China. Our statues, our action figures, a lot of things like that. But it's crazy the things that you don't think about in your everyday life that come from China. I was literally talking to a local business owner yesterday, and he was telling me that his eggs are all from local farms, but the cartons that he puts the eggs in are all coming from China. Those are going to be impacted by tariffs once all this goes into effect. And like it's little things like that that you don't think about. It's like, oh, this is an American product. Yeah, but the bag that it goes in, or the container that it goes in, or this one accessory that goes with everything else, or the label that attaches to it, stuff like that, you don't think would be imported, but it is. It's crazy.
And to add on to that, it applies to everything.
Sure.
The vehicles, the delivery vehicles, right? The trucks that are moving product between from farm to store or whatever. Like think about the tires. Those tires aren't made in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Like, just even tires on the truck are gonna cause your groceries to go up. So, this is gonna be very, very, very impacting to everybody in the U.S. And probably globally as well, because it's going to be kind of like a going down a rabbit hole, right? Or having a spiral effect happen, where one thing happens in one area, then another, and another, and another, and another, and another, and it's going to just this is really trickle down economics happening, just
Sure. I
in
mean,
reverse of what.
sustained trade works like water. It finds the path of least resistance.
Yes.
So the longer that issues exist in this one path, they will find a different path. You see countries like Vietnam negotiating a zero for zero tariff rate, and this isn't new for them. A lot of industry has already started moving to China or moving from China to places like Vietnam after a lot of the trade agreement stuff started changing in 2020. So countries like that are jumping in saying, "Hey, we're down to renegotiate and get these tariffs working in a nice equal path between our two countries." And business is going to change. So it's interesting to see where it'll go in the short term. Yeah, this sucks. There's no other way to put it. This isn't fun. This is hard on consumers. This is hard on a lot of businesses. Um, we've seen. I mean, just personally, I have seen two U.S. retailers that I have used for toys for a long time. One is Toy Dojo, and the other is Big Bag Toy Store. And both of them have sent out emails or made Facebook posts within the past week saying, basically just talking about exactly what we're talking about right now and just letting customers know that, hey, we're going to do our best to eat costs where we can. And, like Dragon Divide just posted in the chat, 10% is survivable, 104% is not. That's basically what they're saying. They're like, hey, if there are small changes, we can eat the costs on that. But when it starts becoming 40, 80, 100 or more, our prices are going to have to start changing. And right now, nothing has changed that I've seen for those, but they're basically warning people like, hey, they may go up. They probably will if this doesn't change anytime soon. And it's sad. We're
Oh
seeing these
yeah.
businesses that have been around for a long time, and they're basically having to come to their customers and be like, guys, this sucks, and but we're gonna have to do this, and it's either raise prices or shut our doors. So
Right, and
yeah,
it's not even just the U.S. based businesses, right? We just saw Tom and Amiami send out
yeah,
notifications that they're no longer doing their Surface Premium, which was their own cargo containers that they would import into the U.S. And they can't do that now because of these tariff rates, right? It's just not feasible for them as a business to offer that service anymore.
right.
So,
Because for
you know,
AmiAmi, the Surface Premium is their independent shipping crate. So if
right,
things get shipped out with them, they get hit with the full tariff on that because they're technically both exporting
and
and then
importing.
importing. So they're getting hit with the full tariffs on that, and they're like, we just can't do that. And I get it. You literally, we think it's bad. Having to pay a tariff on, just a large Ami Ami box. Maybe you get, on the high end, you got maybe $1,000 worth of statues in there. Like that's a lot, but they're literally shipping cargo containers full of that stuff. So yeah, it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars if they get hit by some of these things, and a lot of businesses
And
can't take that hit.
it'd be tens of thousands of dollars on a constant stream, right? Because you know
Yeah,
how many
every time.
containers they ship out. I think they ship out a container every like 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah.
which
I
would
don't
just be
remember
insane.
the I don't remember the store because it wasn't one I was familiar with, but somebody posted an update from that store, and it was not a U.S. business. I think it was a Japanese business, and I could be wrong, but they were basically saying like, hey, I this is the first day in 10 years that I haven't packed a single order to be shipped because yeah, if we as American consumers are being hesitant to make purchases based on the tariffs that are in place now and are about to get worse if things don't change, then yeah, that's impacting a lot of foreign businesses as well because, at the end of the day, we're buying less of their stuff and that's an income stream that through no fault of their own as just, a business owner of a toy store in Japan, they're getting hit by this really hard. So it's hitting in both directions and it really just kind of sucks for everybody until we work all this stuff out.
Right. You know, and it's sad because this is constantly changing, so nobody knows what's going to happen in the next day or two. We could see an escalation even further. We can see them disappear. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But that's the message that everybody here needs to take as well, and everybody who watches this later needs to take. You know, it's stressful. You don't know what to do. Should I cancel my orders? Should I keep my orders? Should I rush and pay extra on shipping? Should I hold off and try to find a warehouse somewhere and hold them there for 6 months? Nobody knows, and it's terrible to say, but you just got to relax. I know it's stressful, and I hate being like that. I hate having to try to be a voice of reason when something is so crazy that there's no reason to it. But you just got to relax.
Yeah,
Take a step back and just don't worry about it right now.
it's unfortunately it's just kind of out of our control right now, right? As
Right.
consumers, we're just this is the situation we're in. None of us like it. None of us are happy about it. Some of us understand why it's happening. Some of us don't care. But
Right.
the reality of the situation is that it is what it is. Um, and yeah, I mean, literally, someone was asking earlier, "Hey, should I ship my stuff now before this gets worse?" And it's like it's a coin flip, right? You're playing roulette because with the rate that things are changing and how often and how extremely they're changing, specifically with relation with us and China right now, because that's really the concern, right? Every other country basically is opening negotiations right now because I think it's in a lot of people's best interest to have a zero for zero trade agreement. China and the US, that is the issue right now. And we've seen how crazy it's been. And every day you wake up and there's another tariff rate or increase or another post saying XYZ is happening now, or the date on this is changing, or the dollar amount on this is changing. And so when this person asked, "Hey, should I ship my stuff?" I'm like, I don't know. Everyone's just got to decide on their own because honestly, if you wait a week, this could be so much worse. Also, if you wait a week, it could be paused because we're in negotiations now. So we just don't know. It is a completely unreliable situation. I would hate to give someone advice, be like, "Oh yeah, definitely ship your stuff because you want to get it here before June, uh, because then everything changes." It's like, well,
I
yeah,
mean,
but a week
from
from
a
now, that may not be the case.
from a personal standpoint, I always find getting your items out of a warehouse and shipping them to yourself is the faster the better, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
No matter the situation, even if these tariffs weren't involved. That said, even I consider holding off on shipping some things right now. But on the same token, it's like, do I want to wait and chance it being worse? Or do I just want to bite the bullet?
Right.
And that's a question only you can answer for yourself.
Honestly, I've got a couple things next month that I'm considering canceling
Yes.
and just being like, you know what? And if I don't get them ever, that's okay. I would rather not roll the dice and risk this.
Right.
I've got one thing in this month for April. I think as long as it ships quickly enough towards the end of the month, I should be okay. But the stuff that's coming out in May, you know how stuff is. It's like it doesn't show up to the end of the month, and you get your invoice, and we'll be in June by the time I pay my May invoice for Ami Ami, and we're going to be in a situation that I'm probably not going to want to have to pay tariffs on. So I kind of personally, and this is just me, but I'm genuinely thinking about canceling just the. I only have I think two or three things in May, just canceling those and then waiting. And if the situation gets better and those things are still in stock at Ami Ami at that point, I'm happy to make that purchase there. And if they do sell out, then I'm also happy because that means they're not sitting on my dead inventory that they had to have when I canceled my pre-orders. So it's kind of a win-win, right? It's either good for me or good for them, but and that's my choice. But would I recommend anyone else do that? I don't know. It is just so crazy that I can't give anyone a suggestion on this.
Absolutely. And everybody's financial situation is different as well. So, I mean, nobody wants to pay 100 over 100% of their value of their item ever. And I don't recommend you ever do that either. Um, but
No,
to
I mean I'm
to
looking
one
around
person,
my nerd room right now, and I'm like, is there any statue or toy or piece of art I have posted or comic book I have slabbed and stuck on a wall? Is there anything here that I would have been okay paying double for? Like whatever I paid, double it. I don't think there's anything in here I would be
absolutely not.
good paying 100% additional tax on top of for these tariffs. So yeah,
Right. Absolutely not. I'm in agreement with you there. Like, I'd rather just not have it. And this hobby, a lot of people, have FOMO. They fear
sure,
missing out on getting that pre-order in, or hoping that there's extra stock after a release or something like that. But honestly, you just got to ask yourself sometimes, like, is it worth it?
sure. And it may
And
be, it may be.
yeah,
It's like,
100%.
hey, this figure is coming out. This is the first time that this character is getting a figure, and they're my absolute favorite figure. Or this is the first time they're getting it in a particular style that I really like. I need to have this. If I don't have this, my collection is going to feel less than. I get
Right.
that. And if you want to do that, and you're like, look, it's coming out next month, and the tariffs are going to be there. Just eyeballing my package, and I'm still willing to pay it because that figure or that character is important enough to me. More power to you. I don't fault you for that whatsoever. Just because it's not a decision that I would make doesn't mean it's a wrong decision for you. Like Science said, everyone's got their own budget, everyone's got their own financial situation. There's not a right or wrong way to do this hobby unless you're putting yourself into a bad financial situation. Now, if you can't afford something and you're like, man, I can barely afford this $150 figure, if it rolls through and I got to pay that $150 again in tariffs or more, and you're like, I'm not going to be able to eat that month because I've overpaid for this figure, you should probably cancel it or hold it or something. Obviously, nobody should be putting themselves in a bad situation where you can't pay your bills, your rent, your cell phone, your internet, or food. But yeah, if you've got the budget for it and it's still worth it to you, you know what? I don't fault you for doing it.
100%.
So yeah, I think that's kind of it on the tariff stuff. I've certainly got a lot more that I could share, but a lot of it would be I would consider it political. A lot of my personal feelings about how China operates as a country and how our trade agreements have worked with them since the late 60s. I have a lot to say about that, but that's not what we do here. We keep our server as politically free as we can because we are a very diverse group from all walks of life and all parts of the globe. So uh, just know that when you guys get shut down for getting political in things and we kind of stop the conversations, we hold ourselves to the same rules. We don't all agree on the same things, even within the admin team, let alone our staff as a whole. But we all refrain from going into it. Those rules apply to us too. So
Yeah. We definitely try to keep it as apolitical as possible, and it's for the benefit of everybody, you know.
sure, because we don't want to take a side on something, right? It's like I'm a southern white guy living in Texas in the United States, and then we've got um, Kitokatsu, who's a trans woman or trans non-binary, I guess, what she would be, but she's Australian. So it's like we're very different. We have very different views, but we still get along great because we try not to take a side on stuff. Because when you join up with one half of a group, you alienate the other half of a group, and that's not what we want to do. We want this place to be as safe for as many people as possible. We can't make it for everybody. That's just not feasible. And I know some people get upset with that. It's like, well, you should bow down to me and do whatever I want because it's supposed to be for everyone and I'm part of everyone. Well, we got to draw a line somewhere. But for the most part, we try to keep things as neutral as we can.
100%. Um, I don't know what else we were gonna discuss. These tariff things, man, they're just so all encompassing right now. Um,
Yeah.
I did get a
The
couple
only really other.
figures.
Oh, yeah. Please tell us.
They're not safe for work, so I can't really discuss them here.
Oh,
But
you need
um,
Jesus.
I do. See, but I'm not religious, so you can fault me for that one.
And
Um,
there's another thing that we don't share, but we don't fight about because we keep it neutral.
I did get a lovely free run bus though. That was
Ooh,
fantastic. Yeah, it's a prize
nice.
figure, and it's like one of my most favorite figures I've gotten so far this year.
Wow. That prize
So,
figures have certainly come a long way.
oh god, yeah. Compared to
I've
where they
still
were
got
even
some
5 years
from.
ago.
Yeah, I've got one from I think 2005, 2006, somewhere sitting on my desk over in the corner. She's so terrible. It's like a really old Sansaku Hakufu from Ikitosen. And
Yep.
it's like such a bad figure. Um, but I picked it up at an anime convention here in the DFW area of Texas, and for those of you who don't know, Funimation is down here, so there's a lot of voice actor traffic kind of around out and about in this area. So they did a like charity auction at the con, and this is 2005, 2006. So I don't have any money, right? So like I'm buying a $40 prize figure at an auction because it's going to be signed, and I'm thinking I'm balling out of control. But it was cool. So she signed the figure, and then during the auction, like came and sat next to me and said, "Hey, do you want me to personalize it?" And I was like, "Sure." She's like, "What do you want me to write?" I'm like, I don't care. It's you're offering to do something cool for me. Just have at it." I didn't have the heart to tell her that I've never actually heard her because I don't watch dubbed anime. Um, but I was just excited that she was willing to do that, and she was excited that someone actually cared. So this figure has quotes from the series on all four sides of the box and the top and the bottom, and then on the figure's leg, and I think a little bit on the arm. She just went wild writing shit all over this, and it was great. So, but yeah, I have this really old figure, and it sucks, but it's like a cool moment. But I look at that and I'm like, man, prize figures have come a long way. Picking some up earlier this year and the end of last year. I'm like, man, these are as good as scales were a decade ago.
Oh
Some of
yeah,
them.
it's crazy.
So
But that's an awesome story. You know,
yeah, it was fun.
I feel so bad for her though because you're just like I don't watch this, and she had no idea.
No, I was like, I love the character, I love the show, but I've never heard your voice with this character. Um, so yeah, but I didn't have the heart to tell her because it's like there's no, I've never been someone that wants to like, I've never been that guy, right? That's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't watch a dubbed anime. I'm only a subtitled gentleman. It's not that. I think dubbed anime is great. There's you can multitask because I love to watch something on a second monitor while I'm doing something on my first monitor. I can't do that when I watch anime because I literally have to read the subtitles. If you watch dubbed anime, it opens up an entire world of media multitasking that I just don't have available. So certainly never going to knock a dubbed anime because I think they're fantastic. They're just not for me. That's not how I got into the hobby.
So, because we went off topic and we're now on to dubbed anime, um, I think dubbed anime is great. I think
Yeah.
everybody should do two watches of any of their favorite series. Right? You watch the subtitled version first to get the actual story and essence of it, and then watch it again dubbed, because you will pick up on little things that you missed the first time around. Because you don't have to focus on your mind being like, all right, I got to pay attention to what they're saying. You can actually take in the actual environment and everything going on, and you notice all these little things, and it makes the stories that much better.
Can I do it on a series that's not my favorite series? Because some of those have a lot of episodes.
You could, but it's a fun way to do things.
I don't have it in me to watch 328 episodes of dubbed fairy tale.
I mean, you could do it with
God, I don't have time for that.
Fairy Tale in Space,
Oh, yeah, I
the
haven't
first
watched
season.
that. I haven't watched that subtitled either. So
Well, the second season was never dubbed, so You
Ah,
can only go through the
gotcha.
first, but it's still fun to
Mm,
do. You'll pick up
yeah.
on little like nuances and things like that that you would have never expected. So that's my
Bracco,
little.
I totally agree. Freeing should make a Hakufu version 2. I have the first one. She's great, but I have her with the new Kanu. And I was like, man, if we got a new Hakufu, that would be really cool. So, yeah,
I
I got figures, but they came in today, and I literally have not opened the box yet because I had to jump on this episode. I'm having a good time, but at some point it's going to be done, and I'm going to go open it because I don't remember what's in that box.
uh, Speaking of which, where'd it come from?
Oh, I did. That is the one thing I did. I didn't open the box, but I pulled the paperwork out of there. It was an Ami Ami package. It
Okay.
shipped. Let me look at my emails. It shipped it last week on the 4th of April, and it arrived today on the 10th of April. The country of origin on the 4 items listed on this invoice sheet show Japan for all 4. They're definitely not made in Japan, but they still list it there. It did not get hit with any sort of tariffs, obviously. But now, would I be willing to gamble on that and say, hey, if Amiami's going to keep putting Japan, then when all these Chinese tariffs go up, when what May or June or whenever that hits, oh, who cares? Japan's going to have a new rate negotiated. It's not going to impact me. I don't think I'm willing to gamble on that because at some point, either A, Ami Ami and other retailers are going to start marking the actual country of origin of the product and not just where they happen to be shipping from, or B, at some point, a customs agent is going to open up that box and go, hey, let's double check. And then they see made in China on the boxes of the figures that are inside. And surprise, now you're getting hit with tariffs. So
Right.
mine says Japan, but I'm not going to count on that always being the case.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
much of a gambler. I'm a boring old man. I'm not much of a gambler.
the one I got today definitely said Japan as well, and it was definitely made in China. So it looks like Amiyami is listing things as Japan origin, and technically that's true because that's where the manufacturers are located, even though they're being produced in China. So
Hmm.
it's a sticky situation. We really have to
Sure.
see how it plays out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I guess the only other thing that we could theoretically talk about, and we already sort of did, um, do you have any new updates on the website or an ETA? I know you said this month. Can we hold you to that? And what sort of punishment can we deliver if May 1st rolls around and we're not
well,
able to make our accounts on hobby.moe?
well, you know, the last 3 weeks for me have been extremely rough with work. I know you have been in the same boat, so you
Mm-hmm.
understand where I'm coming from with that. That threw me off completely and basically stopped me from making any progress on the last few remaining pieces I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now that I'm getting back to having free time starting this weekend after I get my taxes done, which reminder to everybody, your taxes are due, so make sure you take care of that.
Yes. Next
Um,
Tuesday.
yeah. But now once that's done, I can actually get back and focus on things. So I had about 4 days worth of work left to really wrap things up. Last time we talked, I still have 4 days worth of work left to wrap things up because I didn't get a chance from the last time we did one of these sit down episodes to actually work on anything. So hopefully after this weekend I can wrap it up and I will do my best to make it happen before the 1st of May. And there will
Hey,
be a big
you only got
announcement.
you got 4 days worth of work left. You got 20 days to do it. I mean, there's no way you can't get it done, right?
Oh, sure.
I mean,
Sure.
no pressure, but we're all gonna tease you if you don't.
Okay. That's fine. If I don't make it, I will retire being an admin. How about that?
Ah, gross. I'm just gonna delete the server at that point. Then you do
uh,
you do so much work on this team that if you leave, like we're screwed.
you know,
Uh,
you guys, hey. Hey, hey, hey. You guys survived before me. You will survive after me. It's fair.
Yeah, but it'd be like going back in time. We used to manually assign MFC roles to people. Like someone would post their MFC, we would click the link and then go scroll through their collection because the total number that MFC gives you doesn't count doubles and stuff. And some people are like, oh well, you only gave me the rank 50, but I have 53 figures because I have 4 copies of this Hatsune Miku. So we had to manually go do all that before you built your bot to do the functionality. So that's one of a plethora of examples of things that you have done to make all of our jobs easier managing this server. So just know that if you leave, I will hunt you down.
Well, that sounds threatening. I will make
It
sure I don't
it
leave then.
was intended. It was intended
Um,
to be a threat. So I'm glad that
no,
came
no.
across properly.
Yeah, no, it came across properly. Um,
Oh, good.
but yeah, I will make sure that it gets out there, and I will make sure there is a big announcement when it happens. Everybody will know. Um,
I mean, jokes aside, take your time, do it right. I know this is a project that you have not been working on for months. This is a project you've been working on for years. It is a huge, huge undertaking that you are doing essentially totally by yourself.
right.
And unlike all the God, I don't think I have enough fingers and toes to count the amount of times that someone has come in and be like, well, I'm just gonna make my own NFC with blackjack and hookers and they don't ever get past. Some of them will get to like an early design stage, but no one has like really tried and really done the work to make that pipe dream an actual reality. So if it takes an additional month or two from where we are now for you to launch it the way that you want to launch it so that it's ready for us, the community, you take the time you need. It's going to be worth it in the end.
Oh, I know it's going to be worth it in the end because everybody's going to migrate to it, right?
Yeah, by
um,
force.
yeah, by force. No, it will get out there though. Like I said, work has just been so crazy that I just have not had a chance to wrap it up. But we're getting there, and
Sweet.
now that that craziness is all gone, it'll happen.
And hopefully no new craziness shows up to get in the way.
Well, there's already talk of that, but I'm doing my best
Oh no.
to nip that as quickly as possible. So
Well,
that
cool.
said,
Um, do any of you in the chat have any questions or comments for Science and I? Not necessarily about the topics we've talked about today, but just in general about the server, the community, the hobby, what Science had for breakfast this morning, just whatever. If you got it, we're here. We're always happy to chat with you guys if you have any dumb or random questions, because that's what we're all about. But if not, then I suppose we could wrap things up unless you got anything else to share, Science.
um, I don't have anything really to share. But I will say that after this episode, we're gonna start bringing on guests, so we will have more in-depth topics. This one kind of came out of nowhere with the whole tariff situation and with us being so wrapped up with work and overburdened, we didn't really get a chance to plan this one out as expected. But we hope you did enjoy it. We will be
We
getting
are
some
we
guests in
are
here.
already we are already talking with our next guest. Well, technically, it would
Our
be our
first
first
guest.
guest.
Yep.
Our first guest for our next episode. We've reached out to he, she, or they. Well, I don't want to spoil anything. And they're trying their best to make this fit into their schedule. If they do, I think it is going to be a lot of fun because this person has a lot of great knowledge and a really unique um, perspective on the hobby. So
Absolutely.
that's our little teaser. So
Should be fun.
yeah, we are. I will open up the forum post for the server mascot naming contest here in just a few minutes, and we're looking forward to all of you hopping in and sharing your name ideas. And yeah, I think that's all we got. So we can head on out of here. Everyone vote for Megan Nissan. It may not make the list. Like, see, we at least get that first pass. we can go through all the names that are suggested, and any of them that we hate or think are terrible, they don't make it to the voting list, and then people can vote. So we're definitely going to filter out. It's like this isn't that South Park episode where everyone writes in giant turd or huge douche at the bottom of a voting slip, and then those are the two that end up getting chosen. We will have some control over it in the middle step, but the final step, when everyone gets to vote, that is going to be 100% public facing because we're going to do it through using Discord's voting tool, and we will have no control of it at that point. So once we get the names out there, whatever the community picks, that's her name. I'm honestly a little nervous about it, but because it's a character I designed and paid for. But I think it's going to be fun, and yeah, it's going to be a good time.
And we hope it's fun for you all as well.
Yeah,
So please
don't
think of some
forget
names, throw them
prizes.
into the thread. Yep, and
Top
we'll see how it
three,
goes.
top three get a prize. So if you don't care, but you may win something fun. So maybe that's your reason for participating. And if that's your reason, that's okay. If it ends up being a good name, it was a good suggestion, right?
I
So
agree.
cool.
Anywho, I think that'll wrap it up for today.
Yes,
We'll get
sir.
some more info out to you all before the next episode, so you can plan for that. And we'll try to be a little bit more organized now that life is getting a little bit back to normal for us. So appreciate you
Absolutely.
guys taking the time, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks everybody, and we'll get this report recording posted up here either today or tomorrow on the YouTube. So anyone that did miss it or wants to hear it again for some crazy reason, you will have the ability to do so. Thanks everyone. Have a good one.
Talk to you all later.